So I decided to make a video. I used to love to do these all the times, and usually I do it over funny content. But I've just had some weird stuff happen to me of late, and I decided I want to rant. I don't know if I'm gonna post this or not. If I do, it's just gonna be for fuck it, anyone who wants to listen. Um, the Large Hadron Collider has been the thing that's been messing with my head of late. Um, I think in the early 2000s they started researching the Large Hadron Collider, and all it is they collide particles together, and basically the data they collect from that is what they use to kind of solve different aspects on how the universe actually works. And so when they were constructing it, after they had constructed it, um, one of the theories that they had was um, these particles that are accelerating, they're near the speed of light. So at that speed, when they collide, they could theoretically create a black hole that would then consume the entire planet. And, when they first came out with nukes, when they first tested the nuclear bomb, one of the theories they had was an explosion of that magnitude could consume the entire planet's oxygen, and we would all die. Um, so, of course, they didn't really have, as far as they could tell, that was a viable theory, and it could happen. And of course, when it got right down to it, they're like, "Fuck it, pull the trigger. I'll do it for you." It didn't matter. They're like, "Let's just see what happens." So when it comes down to the Large Hadron Collider, there's the same thing. Like, I'll pull the trigger. Let's do this shit. Um, and Shortly after that, people started talking about the Mandela effect, or at least this is how I perceive it. I heard about the Large Hadron Collider, and then I started hearing stories about the Mandela effect. Mandela was a like South African leader or something like that. I didn't pay much attention when he was relevant. Um, a lot of people thought that he died in like the 80s, and they have vivid memories of being pulled aside in class and explained why he died and what it means and yada yada yada. And they took time out of class to do this, and as it turns out, that none of that's real. That didn't happen. He died in 2013. So why you have those memories is completely beyond me, but that's not what happened. Um, Now, most of these Mandela effects, like mirror, mirror on the wall, we all know, like watching Cinderella, the evil witch, whoever the hell it is, says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" Um, as it turns out, that's not what she said. It was actually "Magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" And I even looked for the clip online and I found it. And it's Magic Mirror. I always thought it was Mirror Mirror. They even made a movie, I believe, called Mirror Mirror, that continued the timeline or something like that for that story. And so obviously that's kind of a thing, but it never happened. And it's just kind of weird. But okay, so to my knowledge, no one had any issues with the Mandela effect until the Large Hadron Collider went off. All right. Um, so astrophysicists are actually contemplating that my understanding is we actually did create black holes when we used the Hadron Collider. It's just they were so small they disappeared. Um, so they didn't do any damage whatsoever. Um, Now, these astrophysicists are claiming that it is possible that when we used the Hadron Collider, we destroyed our universe. And what happened to everything that wasn't destroyed merely slid into the closest parallel universe. And that's why we have things like Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, uh, the Mandela effect. That's why we have the Mandela effect, is because in the next universe, it was Magic Mirror on the Wall, not Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Another one is Berenstein Bears. Everyone remembers reading those books. Well, apparently it's not Berenstein, it's Berenstain. And I recently saw a video where someone had a Berenstein Bears book and a Berenstain Bear book right next to one another. So they're starting to think that there's like glitches in the matrix, for lack of a better way of saying it. So this whole thing kind of has boggled my mind, but like the whole Mandela thing, it went away, and I hadn't heard anything about it in years. Well, a couple years ago, they started using they stopped using the Hadron Collider, and then all of a sudden they started again. Well, guess what? We've got more Mandela effects now. Uh, um, what was it? Publishers Clearinghouse. If you're a child of the 80s or the 90s, you all remember those commercials of Ed McMahon showing up to people's houses and giving them fat checks and all that stuff. And apparently, Ed McMahon has never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse. Never in the history of ever. And there's actual video of him going to people's houses for certain promotions and whatnot, whatever the hell it was he was doing, where he showed up at their house. And these people just went nuts. Like, oh my God, I just won the Publishers Clearinghouse. And he's like, I'm not here for that. I've never done that. Like, why do people keep saying that? So there's little bits of evidence that kind of point towards the legitimacy of this nonsense. I say nonsense because none of this shit makes sense. So, nonsense. And it's kind of had me wondering about my own unique perspective on life, which I don't share very often, because the few times I've shared it, people think I'm fucking weird. But, like, they can believe in Jesus, like some dude that supposedly died long enough for his body to stink, and then came back like a zombie. And that's your... I don't want to pick on Christians. I tried reading the Book of Mormon. I got about 20 pages in. I was laughing my ass off because it was so preposterous. Every religion I've studied, I literally found laughable. The only reason I didn't find Christianity laughable is because I was born into it. And it's not a knock against any religion. It's definitely not for me. And it doesn't make sense to me. But this whole thing where apparently there's parallel universes really has me intrigued because it somewhat correlates to the perspective on life that I have. This video is starting to run long. I'm going to stop this and start another one. That way, if I decide to download these, you guys can just watch one after another. All right, peace.